Indeed, it is the Smoke and Mirrors Radio Hour. My name is Jay Weidner, and thanks for listening. We're talking to Stephen Oakley, or as I call him, the Oakster. Okay, Steve, let's get going with this. This is so interesting. So you're saying that a body gets used to a certain kind of way of living, and when that gets disrupted through tension and stress or something else, that's the beginning of illness?
Well, it's not necessarily getting used to. The body is designed to function in an optimal way, and I'm not sure how many models we have that can suggest what that means. I think too bad we don't get the operating manual for being a human on the planet. So there are as many ideas out there as there are people almost about, do you need to cook your food? Should it all be raw? Should you be a vegetarian? Is meat okay? Are eggs toxic? Are eggs okay? Coffee? I don't know. How about coffee? Caffeine, is that good? Is that bad? Little okay? Too much? Too much? On and on. And so, really, we each need to be students of this question, because these bodies, indeed, though very similar, are nevertheless, because of the genetic design, unique.
Yeah.
So we just need to work on understanding for our own selves, and consult a healthcare practitioner. Work with a few people who really study this day in and day out. There are a lot of people out there that understand that a little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing. And so enhance that knowledge, and one way to do that is by seeking out people who are knowledgeable in the ways of health. And so optimizing this system, according to Béchamp's ideas, I think is a very good idea. And
how do you do that?
Well, in 2006, one of the many ways to do that was to follow in the footsteps of a doctor by the name of Canal. He has a website that is vitamindcouncil.com. And he was working in a maximum security hospital for the criminally insane. And a influenza pandemic took over the hospital. They isolated one ward from the other and didn't allow the patients to interact with each other. And one thing that he noticed as this progressed was that despite the fact that everybody in the hospital, including the staff, were becoming very ill from the so-called flu, the people in his ward were not getting ill. None of them, not one. So he started to examine what he was doing that was different than what everybody else was doing. And what he realized was that he was giving all of his patients 2,000 IUs of vitamin D every day, and had been for months. And so that set him off on a quest to understand, and there's a short paper that he wrote called Epidemic Influenza and Vitamin D. And there's a longer, more lengthy study that ensued that was a peer-reviewed paper that gives clear evidence that vitamin D is very involved in this business of colds and flus and respiratory distress that occurs as winter approaches, and indeed the flu season begins after the winter solstice, when we're getting very little
sunlight.
Yeah. And sunlight, a very short amount of sunlight to a full naked body can generate as much as 20,000 IUs in 20 minutes. And so the generally, not by the government, but by healthcare providers, increasingly, the view is that a minimum daily dose of vitamin D, and we're talking vitamin D3, or the sun. But, of course, as the sun goes lower in the sky and we put on more clothes, we can't get this kind of exposure anymore.
Right.
So very little, almost a vanishingly small amount is available in our diet, typically. And so D3 or cholecalciferol, as opposed to D2 or ergocalciferol, which has the potential to be toxic, so it's important to get the right one here, as a supplement is a big favorite of mine. And my favorite way to get it is in a fermented cod liver oil product from that cod liver oil traditionally as a sacred food, and I'm not talking about the stuff that's on the shelf in the health food store today, unfortunately, and that's a whole program. It has always been the richest source of vitamin A and vitamin D of any food substance. And so depending on the kind you get, seek out this fermented cod liver oil. It's the best, and it's the only one, really, that I'm aware of that has the potential to give one the A and the D in the amounts that we require. That or a lanolin-based. Combing the wool of sheep is the way that a lanolin-based vitamin D is gotten. The synthetic versions are not what we want.
Wow.
So that's a huge piece, a huge piece. And again, when now the kids are all going back to school, they're not playing outside without shirts on and running around barefoot in shorts and all that, and doing their homework and staying up later, or if not staying up later, probably getting up earlier.
But what about skin cancers and all that? I mean, I go out in the sun every day, but I guess I'm fearless.
How's your skin cancer doing? The best defense against skin cancer is a good tan.
It's getting better.
I mean, the dermatologists are right that we don't want to go out there and injure our skin by getting it burned.
Right.
Because that opens up the possibility for cancers. Injuries often precede cancers. That's another whole show. Don't get me off on cancer. But, I mean, the best defense against skin cancer is a good tan. Keep that melanin active in the skin and keep your skin bronzed. And you get plenty of vitamin D, and one does not get skin cancer.
Yeah, I walk up a mountain every day, about 1,400 foot. And in summer, I do it in the morning because it gets hot.
Yeah.
Too hot in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But as the days get shorter, I move it more closer to noon, till where it's at the height. So by the time December 21st comes, I'm taking my walks around 1 o'clock, getting a full dose.
Right.
A full dose of the sunlight.
And if warm enough, I hope you're taking your shirt off.
I do. I try to. In fact, believe me, if you saw this walk, this thing, you 30 degrees, you'd still be sweating and huffing and puffing.
Well, but remember, once we get above 40 degrees latitude in the wintertime, the sun is so low in the sky that even midday, it's very difficult